Hi everyone, tonight we're here at Bronte Creek. We're going to do the ghost tours. I know we took you guys along with us before in the past, but we're just doing an updated video to see if anything's changed and to see what maybe spirits we'll see tonight. We did see orbs last time and heard some sounds, so excited to see what we'll see this evening. Anyway, come along.
Creek, and most of my job is taking the resources that we have here, like nature and history, and sharing it with the visitors who come here. So we're going to be doing ghost walks today. The name is a little bit misleading because we're not necessarily going to be talking about ghosts. Instead, we're going to be talking about Victorians and their beliefs in the paranormal and kind of how it's influenced us today. And as well, we're going to be looking at a Victorian funeral or Victorian wake. So we're going to be going inside the house there. That house was built in the year 1899. Makes it 126 years old. We do have kerosene lamps lit. If you look in the porch there, you'll see some there. They are also lit inside the house, which creates a lot of heat. So while we're inside, if you need to get outside, get some fresh air, we have a staff member in there named Heather who can absolutely show you the way, and we can just fill you in later. So have you guys been to Spruce Lane Farmhouse before? Anyone? Someone hasn't?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, don't worry, we're going. So we're going to be talking about, like I said, Victorian beliefs in the paranormal, but we're going to be starting off with more modern technology and how, I don't know if you guys met the Southern Ontario Paranormal Society, SOP, how they have been recording and documenting what they believe is paranormal activity. Okay? If we have any questions at all, just raise our hands. I'll be happy to answer it. But do we have any questions? We're good? Okay, we're going to get going up this way. I've been doing here for years, and I have been documenting and recording paranormal, what they believe are paranormal activity and experiences inside the Spruce Lane Farmhouse. So there's two major ways that they will do that. One of them is with sound. So an EVP is an electronic voice phenomenon. Basically, like an MP3 player can record audio that's outside of human hearing ability, that's too high or too low. And so what SOPS does is they'll take the recording and they'll change the frequency to it so that it is able to be heard by people, and then they'll splice it down so they just hear certain parts. So I have a couple of recordings from inside Spruce Lane that I'm going to show you. The first one is in the back parlor. For context, the back parlor is where a Victorian family would spend time together. The children would be in the back parlor. They weren't really allowed in the front parlor, but we'll get to that. So the first recording that I have, audio recording that I have, it'll turn on, is from the back parlor. I did also want to say that whatever your beliefs are with spirit, ghosts, paranormal activity, everybody's opinion is welcome and respected, and that's the number one priority when we're on this walk. My personal belief is that when you do something enough times, you use up your energy. If I were to walk up and down this ramp 50 times, 10 days in a row, every day for like a year, what happens to that energy? I exert this energy, and then what happens? Does it just fly away? Does it just, like, what? You know what I mean? So that's my personal belief, that we leave energy in places that we leave an impact or that we spend a lot of time in. So that's where my belief is. And I'd love to hear your guys' beliefs and stories at the end of the tour. But I just want to emphasize that really quick. So energies can be feeling or a physical form, or in this, and for this, it's sound. Okay, so this is, again, back parlor, this is where the family would spend time together. I'm not going to tell you what I hear or what I think it is. It's a really short video or clip, so I'll play it a couple times. But I want you to tell me what you interpreted This is the back parlor. Remember I was telling you guys about the recording of it kind of sounded like we interpreted it as a child giggling. That was taken back here in the back parlor. This is where the family would spend time together because if people just showed up and they would need to have a room that looked fancy and looked proper, and that would be the front parlor. Children weren't allowed in the front parlor except for special occasions like Queen Victoria's birthday or Christmas or for a wake. There's someone in here. During the wake, these two doors will usually be open. Some more people sit on visit, but throughout the year, those two doors will be closed. Sure. You guys can scooch in. We're gonna close these doors, so get comfortable. I'm gonna be standing here, so you don't have to look at me if you don't want to. The parlor is decorated as a Victorian wake. Wakes would last about 5 to 7 days for a couple of different reasons. One of which is, sorry, for the wake, for context, the person who died would be sitting in a coffin in the front parlor for about 5 to 7 days. And so, like I said, Henry and Margaret both died in this house about a year apart from each other and had their wakes in this front parlor. So the reason the wakes were about 5 to 7 days, there's a couple. One of them being if somebody was just in a deep coma, it gave them time to wake up. They actually came up with something called a coffin bell. This is the patented image. And it was to tie a string to someone's finger in the coffin, and then if they weren't dead and they woke up, they would ring the bell. Didn't exactly work because like one gust of wind and that bell is ringing. So, but it was a thing, and there were people who would work at the graveyard at night just to hear a ring. So one of the reasons the waits were so long, 5 to 7 days, were because of that. Another reason is because they didn't have cars or planes back then. This is let's say 1900, not everybody had cars. So it took time for people to come to visit, to pay their respects, especially people from out of town. So they would have the front parlor decorated as the wake for 5 to 7 days. So it gives family and friends from out of town time to come to the house and pay their respects. There's a lot of flowers in here. And there's, a very common tradition is when someone passes away, you bring them flowers or candles, things like that. That originates from this time period because it was actually to mask the smell of the dead body. Because it'd be here for 5 to 7 days. Imagine a day like today, 5 to 7 days. Yeah, no, I'm good, thanks. Right? So it was not ideal, but it was what they did to grieve. That's a big part of this is realizing, grief is just evidence of love, and that you can't love without grief, and whatever helps people get through that is wonderful. Whatever makes it easier for people, right? Victoria tried to connect with her husband. The Ouija board was invented, I believe, in 1895, so just around the end of the Victorian era. And it's still something. Have you guys seen a Ouija board before? You guys are you familiar? Yeah, so you've seen it. It's been around over 100 years. And some people believe that using a Ouija board actually attracts negative energy. But to each their own. So we're gonna actually. Do you want to try the Ouija board? No. Are you sure? Yeah. Okay. Does anyone think of a question? No? No one? Well, you know what? It's okay because the Ouija board is just a parlor trick. There's a magnet under here. Oh, I lost the magnet. There's a magnet there. It's a bit finicky. But it would pull it towards a certain way. People would have parties at their house to kind of show that their house was interesting, that it was haunted. because that's interesting. They would hire mediums. If someone came to your house and they were expecting to see a ghost and they didn't, oh, don't go to Jessimee's house. Like, she says she has ghosts, but no way. Things like that, right? It's a little bit embarrassing. So they would do things like this. They're called parlor tricks to trick their guests into thinking their house was haunted. Another way they would do that is by pulling in chairs. Do you want to pull that chair out a little bit? Do you mind? And they have it tied to a piece of string over here. I have it on my foot. It goes by itself. How did that? Oh my gosh. I mean, it worked. I mean, the first time I saw it, it worked on me. And so thinking 125 years ago, it would work on them. They would also use light to show different objects. It's a bit too bright in here still, but they had items like this. That when they're flat, they're facing this way, you can't see anything. But as soon as it turns, it leaves the shadow of a person. So again, it's too bright in here still right now, but you can sort of see it. We might need to turn off that second lamp. I think that might do what's doing it. And they would use things like that. They would use fans to blow out candles, and really just anything to make it look like their house was haunted. By myself, it's my third summer working here. This happened my first year. I was opening up everything by myself. I was in the basement, like I said, getting ready. I had my phone on the table that way, and I would do my makeup and my hair in the mirror. And my phone started playing music. And to be fair, I was listening to music on the car ride to work, but I hadn't listened to music since I'd gotten out of the car about 45 minutes earlier. And my music unpaused, and started playing a song that's titled Normal Girl, which I think is a little bit interesting. There have been a couple occurrences where technology was a little bit finicky. Could just be technology, could not be. Somebody claimed to have come inside the house with their camera, and when they were walking the house, their shutter kept taking pictures, and it wouldn't stop until they left, but no pictures were actually taken. It's pretty interesting. Okay, head down to the horse barn, and I guess I kind of spoiled it, but about what animals we might have, but you know, yeah. So the Brecken family, like I said, were farmers, and in this time period, up until even the 50s, horses were the heart of the farm. And the industrial revolution had happened, but a lot of that farming equipment didn't really become mainstream until like mid 20th century. So they were using horses for farming techniques for a very long time. The Brecken family had 5 horses, 2 teams of horses for pulling for the fields for farming use, and 1 driving horse. So they would have in this stable there would be a wall here, and there'd be 1 horse, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th one would be back there with the buggy. Horses are still, like, people have a connection to horses. I know you guys, I feel like ever since I was a little kid, like, you see a horse, they're like big dogs, but they're still like majestic. You know, there's so much about them. So we've had horses on this farm since the park opened until about the early 2000s. We do have horses now. They're just here for the summer. They're retired racehorses from Long Run Thoroughbred Retirement Society. And Long Run is very kind to let us have the horses and spend time with them for the summer. So make sure you go say hi to them before we head out. But there's a period of time between early 2000s to like early 2010s where we didn't actually have any horses on the farm ever. We now have it in summer. Sometimes horses are here during the Surf Festival for pony rides, but those are horses from another farm. During Ghost Walks, they talked. Somebody had talked about the horses, how between the 80s and early 2000s, the park did have horses, but a lot of them were retired draft horses, so they kind of lived out the rest of their lives here. So we have quite a few horses, and a lot of them died here and were buried in the park. So they were telling this story, and somebody went, "Well, hold, you guys still have horses?" No, we don't. Nope, we don't have horses. Like, I saw horses in the back pasture whenever, like, sometimes I see them in the morning when I go running. Okay, sure. And you saw a deer, but okay, you know? But then that happened, I kid you not, 20 more times. We reported every incident, or I guess incident that happened. Somebody said that they had seen horses in that back pasture, or this one here, when we didn't have horses, 20 times. We stopped keeping track after that. Animals leave a mark on us as well. There are pet cemeteries, things like that, and even for Victorians, they had connections to their animals, and I mean, maybe not as much farming animals, but pets like dogs and cats and things like that. Something I want to mention really quick, this barn and the pig barn over there are both older than Spruce Lane Farmhouse. We actually don't know how old this barn is. The latest is like 1880, most likely older than that. So this barn has a lot of history to it. So like I said, many people have claimed to have seen horses in the back pasture where the cows are now. But we had a staff member, when we did have horses again in about 2015, they were doing bat surveys. And there's a bat box on the side of this barn here, so they were standing against the fence like this. And I think it was 2015, they had this one horse named Sugar, and he was really cheeky. And every time somebody was sitting there, he would go and like startle them because they find it funny. And then he'd go, and they jump, and, you know, they notice that, they think it's hilarious, so they keep doing it. So there's a staff member doing bat surveys, and Sugar and another horse was in here, and she felt hot breath and she jumped, and Sugar was in the back of pasture. There was no horse. I kid you not, I've talked to the staff member, she's told me the story, she swears by it. We actually had somebody just a couple weeks ago say that they saw horses in this pasture in February. We don't have horses in February. Like I said, we have them in the summer usually, and then another farm will bring in horses for pony rides during special events. But in the off season, if you ever see a horse, keep that in mind and let us know. Write down the date, time. If you can take a picture, things like that. So I mean, out of all the ghosts you could have, ghost horses is not too bad. I have no complaints about that personally. We're gonna head outside now because it looks like the next group is over there, and but before we end the tour, I just want to reiterate that their beliefs, Victorians' beliefs, and some people still believe it now, it's how they were able to deal with the pain of grief. It's quite beautiful, really, that they were able to find a way to feel the pain and move past them. And it's really interesting to think about how their beliefs and their traditions have influenced us today, like bringing flowers to a funeral, right? Things like that. So I want to say thank you guys so much for coming on this ghost walk. I hope you learned a few things, and I hope I didn't startle you. I don't think I did. I was really bad with the Ouija board. You saw that. But if you guys have any questions for me, I'm going to be around here, and then I'm walking back down to the fire. If you have any questions for SOPS, the Southern Ontario Paranormal Society, I can direct you to them down there as well. But apart from that, thank you so much for coming. The house is open tomorrow from 10 to 4. The parlors will be closed, but you can see the rest of the house. And next weekend as well, we're doing a garden concert on Saturday. The 16th, I believe. We're doing a garden concert. We're going to be singing some Victorian songs or Victorian style songs on the porch of Spruce Lane Farmhouse. But that's all I have. So thanks so much for coming. And if you have any questions, just let me know.
Thanks for coming along tonight, guys. It was really cool and hoping to see some things on our pictures. If we do see anything, we will be posting it at the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Thank you.